Hey sleuths, welcome back to ColdCaseStudy. I'm your host Morgan, and I have got to tell you guys about how much of a struggle this week has been and how much I appreciate y'all for your love and support. I started my junior year of college this week, and my internship is officially in full swing, so I'll just take a second to plug it. Register to vote at studentvote.org and make sure to request your mail-in ballot so you don't get the Rona. This week, we are diving into a case that isn't technically cold because it's so recent and people want justice. If you haven't been keeping tabs on my Instagram, please follow me because I post hints and other things about upcoming cases on there. Today's case has a bunch of names: the Snapchat murders, the Delphi, Indiana murders, or simply the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. Before we keep going, I just want to confirm that is Houdini, Lord of Chaos, the kitten, playing in the background. Please ignore him. I apologize for any noise that he might cause. Abby and Libby managed to capture video and audio of their killer, but they remain unidentified. I also want to give a shout out to Olivia Lee. She is amazing. Olivia was one of the first friends I made when I started this podcast. She helps true crime podcasters research and edit their scripts to make sure they are as concise and informative as possible while also being entertaining as hell. I personally haven't worked with her on my own scripts because I'm a stubborn control freak about my writing, but if you're having issues with writing your script during the research, anything like that, please check her out at O_LEEVIA on Instagram or writers.work/Olivia Grace. As always, the case notes and resources I used for this show will be posted on my Instagram for y'all to check out. But without further ado, grab your sleuth book and coffee, and let's dive in. Can you help solve a cold case? Warning, the following audio contains adult themes including murder and mentions of gore and sexual assault. Listener discretion is advised. My first run-in with this case was watching one of those investigative shows on the ID channel, and when I came across it again while researching for this show, I just knew I had to cover it. So here it goes. On February 13th, 2017, two best friends decided that they wanted to go on a hike. Abigail J. Williams, better known as Abby, and her best friend, Libby Roselyn German. From what I could find on the girls, they were crafty and loved to play sports. And according to a close friend of the pair, Erica Gibson, who is now a senior in high school, she said that both Abby and Libby were interested in studying forensic science after graduation. Abby was described as shy, and Libby was known to stand up against bullies. I have a quote here saying that she was, quote, a force to be reckoned with, end quote, which is an important fact for your sleuth book. As I said, the girls wanted to go on a hike. So they asked Kelsey German, Libby's older sister, to go hiking with them at the Historic Trails in Delphi. Kelsey had already made plans for the day, but struck up a deal with the girls. If they could get permission from their parents and grandparents and have someone else pick them up when they were done, then Kelsey would drop them off. Abby and Libby checked those boxes and were dropped off by Kelsey at a trailhead on County Road 300 North at 1:35 p.m. A little less than 2 hours later, they didn't show up at their meeting place with Libby's dad for pickup. At first, no one suspected foul play, just that the girls had probably gotten stuck somewhere or lost. With this assumption, the girls' families began searching the wooded trails for them. At 5:30, 4 hours after the girls were last seen by their family, the police were called and Abby and Libby were officially reported missing. By then, it was getting dark and the families went home for the night, again, still hopeful that Abby and Libby were A-okay, just a little lost and a little cold. By noon the next day, those hopes were dashed. The bodies of Abby and Libby were found by a search party of volunteers. There aren't a lot of public details about the investigation or the crime itself. Nothing has been said about the state of the bodies, how the girls were killed, or if the killer had violated them. which is understandable because the police want to keep a tight lid on the evidence so that when they do get a suspect, they'll be able to nail them on things that only the killer would know. But I wish the police would release more to the public so that we could possibly help. What we do know about the case is that while hiking, Abby and Libby were being followed. When police opened Libby's phone, they found that the girls had been taking pictures and videos on the day of their hike. There were several concerning things found in her camera roll. The first being a picture of Abby crossing the Monon High Bridge, a very high, very old wooden bridge that locals warned hikers not to cross. And in the background, you can see just the faintest outline of a figure in the distance. A second thing was a video of the girls discussing being followed by a weird, creepy guy and wondering if he was still behind them. In the video, you can see a man on the opposite end of the bridge. He's described as being about 5'8", 200 pounds, with reddish-brown hair and a goatee. A witness who had seen this man worked with a sketch artist and produced a very detailed sketch of the guy, dubbed Bridge Guy, who, in other videos, is heard saying, "Guys, down the hill," to Abby and Libby. I'm going to play the audio for you. It's not great, but listen. Do you recognize that voice? Please keep replaying that bit if you think that you might. Jumping forward 2 years to April 19th, 2019, an updated sketch was released to the public by the police. The sketch was way different than the original, showing a young, clean-shaven man with short hair, and they placed his age at anywhere between 18 and 40. Police shifted gears, admitting that this new sketch should be considered the image of their new prime suspect, and that they believed that the man depicted in the first sketch was not involved. And that, sleuth, is all we know about the facts of the case. When it comes to suspects, there are 4 that have been publicly identified. Charles Eldridge, a known child molester, resembled the first sketch. Pastor Tom Bruce shot a woman and sexually assaulted 2 others and was noted to be similar in appearance to the Delphi suspect, including the fact that he was dressed in a similar style. Daniel J. Nations, a registered sex offender, was cleared of being a person of interest in February 2018. And finally, Paul Eder was wanted for the kidnapping and rape of a 26-year-old woman who was thought to be connected to the Delphi case, but he died of suicide during a police standoff in 2019. 4 suspects. That's all we've got. At the moment, police are asking for help locating a young man who was seen sitting in a broken-down car who claimed he was waiting for his father to pick him up when questioned by a passerby, as well as an additional plea to identify the driver of an abandoned vehicle off of Hoosier Heartland Highway, where the Child Services Office had been located between noon and 5 p.m. on February 13th, the day of the murders. Now, there are some theories ranging from wild to plausible. There is a very active subreddit about Abby and Libby, which, if you're very into the online sleuthing community, you can check out. I barely scraped the surface of it when I was trying to find information on the case because I didn't want to get too far down the rabbit hole, because I never would have gotten this episode recorded. But moving on to the theories, some suspect that the families and police faked the girl's death and they're alive somewhere. I don't understand how that could be plausible since the families still live in Delphi and are actively trying to have the case solved. Another theory is that both sketches are correct. Hear me out because this is one that I actually like. This is also a theory that is heavily touched upon in the Abby and Libby subreddit, and the theory is that a father-son duo, or just a younger male and an older man, working together committed the crime. The younger man fitting the second sketch and the older man fitting the first sketch. I like this one because of something that we wrote down in our sleuth book earlier, and that was that Libby was a force to be reckoned with. She was athletic, and she had a strong build. If you look at this girl, she is built like a tank. I love her build. It was the same build I had at her age, but it would have been difficult to subdue her and Abby at the same time, especially with Libby's history of standing up to bullies and other people. So having two killers does make sense in my brain. Moving on to a more gory theory, I guess it's not so much as a theory as it is a speculation or a guess, is that the police won't release the cause of death because the girls were decapitated. Kelsey German, Libby's older sister, tried to shut down a lot of the theories that were popping up, especially the ones that were implicating her family and just damaging to them going on with their lives. She did a 2-hour-long broadcast on YouTube just trying to have peace and get these theories put to rest. I can't imagine the pain Kelsey must have been going through to be the person who dropped Abby and Libby off and to have to debunk conspiracies about your murdered sister's death. Like, it's just really screwed up. Unlike our last case, the police seem to have been doing a really good job at staying on top of their investigation. Anna, Abby's mother, said they are all working for us. Hopefully they know who it is, but they haven't got the evidence yet to make an arrest, end quote. In April 2019, the police held a press conference where Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter begged for the killer to come forward and alluded to the fact that the police felt that they were getting close to identifying him, saying, quote, "To the killer, who may be in the room, we believe you're hiding in plain sight. We've likely interviewed you or someone close to you." I mean, can you imagine just sitting in that room and thinking, oh my God, the killer could be the person next to me? Please just take a moment and think. Do you know anyone who lived or worked in the Delphi, Indiana area in 2017? Were you out on the historic Delphi trails that chilly February day? Did you see Abby and Libby? I'm going to be posting the picture of the bridge guy and the sketches along with my case notes on my Instagram for you guys to check out, because y'all, I can feel it. Someone out there has that missing piece of information that can help the Delphi police solve these murders, and that person might be you. If you have any information, please contact 1-844-459-5786 or email abbyandlibbytip@cacoshrf.com. Let's get some justice for these girls. Please, 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 please. As always, I want to know your theories. I want to know what you think on what happened to Abby and Libby. So please DM me on Instagram or Facebook at ColdCaseStudy or email me at ColdCaseStudy@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. I appreciate all of you so much. Check out my Instagram to buy handmade Cold Case Study necklaces, either by DMing me or going through my Etsy shop. The link is in my bio. And don't forget to give me a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Also, don't forget to check out my website, ColdCaseStudy.weebly.com. And I have also been uploading these audio episodes to YouTube in case you would rather listen to me on there. Again, thank you guys so much. Keep your sleuth book handy, and I'll see you next week for another cold case.